Presentation for the exchange program. Why we're doing it? There are two main reasons. First of all, we are talking about talking to each other, exchanging thoughts and all the stuff. And this is what we do. This is another example beside the convention where we can do it, where we can grow as coaches, where we can share our thoughts, and where we can learn from others. Secondly, a lot of people ask me, why should I become a member of the EBCA? And beside the convention, the EBCA exchange program and some other reasons we will hear later, the exchange program is a great chance to be part of a community. And not only in Europe, but worldwide. And I experienced this since 2005, I think I did it the first time. And it's a great thing to do. Great times, great people, and we will share a little bit with you what we did in the past and what's going on in the future. So Bertrand will start with the way to participate.
Yeah. So as Georg told you, you have to be EBCA member, and so it's very easy. All the information are on the website, and you have to apply by sending the bio, interest, time frame, and some more personal information. So we need to know who you are and a little bit how is your motivation to do that. And the thing is, it's very easy. It's on one sheet, and after we will try to do our best to choose the best candidate, but we have different spots. So you have to wait until we answer you. The main objective is to share your experience. Myself, I did that in 2011. It was an awesome experience. I went in Chicago, and I had, I think, one of the best spots for my experience in baseball, because I was to the White Sox, to the Cubs, in independent league, in college, in high school, in travel teams, and during 2 weeks I had a good view of the baseball in the US and how we can adapt some stuff on our organization and coach stuff. So one of the possibility is with Team Europe.
So I will talk a little bit about Team Europe. Team Europe started in 2005, and please don't mix it up with Team Europe, the SEAP Ascending. It was actually before SEAP was sending teams to Japan. We had a Japanese team coming to Germany, and the German Baseball Federation had a problem. They were talking to the Japanese, and the guy then, Tominaga, he said he's coming. Well, after a year, nobody heard from him. He called the DBV and said, hey, I booked my flight. We'll be there next Friday. Well, DBV calls me and said, hey, George, we have a problem here. We got a Japanese team coming in next week. We don't know what to do with them. Do you have a chance to host them? Okay. Well, what was kind of stressful ended up as being one of the biggest things I did with baseball in Europe. Team came and we started. The thought was started to learn from each other, and herefore since then we sent players and coaches to certain spots, and the idea is not only to, and don't get me wrong with the American coaches here, not only go to the United States and say, okay, the United States, the Major League Baseball level is the peak. but also see what are the guys doing in Australia, what are they doing in Japan, what are they doing in China, what are they doing in wherever, even in Europe. Any kind of circumstance can help us, for example, in Cologne, in Germany, to grow the game and to become better. Because let's say Terry in Hungary has a certain problem he solved, and it might work out for us as well. So since 2005, we have sent coaches from France, Netherlands, Belgium, Poland, Canada, Japan, and Germany to all these places. Actually, beside Bertrand being in Chicago with our exchange program, for example, Pavel, who is coach of the 18U Polish national team, he went to St. Louis with Team Europe in 2017. So, like I said, since then we sent a lot of coaches there, and the purpose easily to learn from each other, share experience, and make life-lasting memories and friends. I brought you some photos, some impressions over that, and I will let you know why I brought them. When we go to St. Louis, and this is just an example of the exchange program, don't get me wrong, we will talk about other things as well. When we talk about Team Europe, it's about, there are certain programs, and one of the programs is a 12U and a 15U tournament in St. Louis at the beginning of August. And why I choose this one, it's not a joke. It's not a fun tournament where you're drinking and all that stuff. It's really about sharing knowledge. And it's with the color guard, it's with people are pride, as coaches and as players. The kids and the coaches are not representing Germany. They're not representing the Netherlands, whatever. They're representing Europe. And this slide shows that. Pavel is on the left, right there. And Pavel, I don't know if you want to say something, but you like the experience, right?
Yes, of course. It was an amazing thing, and when there was a Facebook post that EBCA is looking for the coaches, and I wrote Georg about my experience, about my goals. Of course, I wrote also the diehard Cardinals fan, so I hope being there I will be able to see Cardinals game. And she wrote me that I might be even over-experienced for this gig because I probably should go with the Team Europe to Japan in the autumn because there's more competitive, more higher level. And I say it's just something new for me, and it was challenging because you meet the players at the airport. You don't know most of the players. I brought one of my players with me, and I knew two Swiss kids that I met twice before during the competition that we had against Switzerland in European Championships. So it was, I knew 3 kids out of 15, and then you have one practice to figure out who is your pitcher, who is your position player, who is hitting better, who is hitting worse, and then you have 5 games, pool games that you have to figure out the team for the playoffs. And well, we were not lucky because we had not hitting team. We had very good defense, we had very good pitching, we had no hitters, actually, except for maybe 3 players. And that was our handicap. We couldn't win those games without really good hitting. And it was one of the greatest experiences of my life, actually, because actually it started my thinking of travel team on my own. And this year, me and my Centauri Warszawa, we went to Ulster Cup to Cologne for first tournament. Then I took my players to Brześć, Belarus, to play 3 games against the local team. And then we went on the end of the season to Terry, to Hungary, to play the tournament there. And it's really interesting thing, getting to know players, getting to know people, getting to know coaches. I have such a good memories about people there in St. Louis who are so helpful, so passionate about what's going on there, what happened there. If you had any problem, they tried to figure out how to solve it. There was no problem too big to be solved. So it was really amazing. And the thing for kids is also great because they meet new people, they stay at families, and they get American experience of their own.
Thank you, Pavel. Besides playing, here's an image from this year's tournament where the Korean team went in. In St. Louis, by the way, there was Japanese teams, there were Korean teams, Australian teams were playing. So this was an image there. It was a great experience, great baseball they played, and the way they play is different. Obviously, Asian baseball is different, and it made a big impression to us coaches, but also to the players. Besides playing baseball, Pavel said he's a diehard Cardinal fan. Of course, for the coaches, it's a great experience here. We were at a baseball game. After the baseball game, we lined up here. And we see here, for example, 2 Dutch coaches who have been as players there in St. Louis who became coaches. They're youth coaches now in Holland. Now they were part as coaches there. And hopefully they will share their experience soon. And on the right side, we got a coach from Stuttgart, Markus Weyer, and a guy from Cologne who helped me setting this things up. Things beside, I just put this up because I'm saying we're not only playing tournaments there with Team Europe, but we're also meeting people, Koji from Japan and Jerry from Korea. Having a first pitch there is an awesome experience as well. And beside the 12U and 15U, we also went to Japan with the 19U. And, who has been in Japan? Let me just know. Okay, Japan is a different animal. I mean, Japan is different. If you think, we were talking about being enthusiastic about the game, about the fan base and all the stuff. If you go to Japan and you see what status baseball has in Japan, if you want to become a man, if you want to become a great guy, you have to play baseball in Japan. It's different. And it's great to see. We play, for example, the University of Fukuoka. They're managed by a former pro player from the Hawks, the reigning champion in Japan, and we will see him later on. But I showed you this. You see this prototype field. They have 120 players. 120 players. The 21st players, they're allowed to be on the field. The next 20, they're allowed to stay right next to the dugout and make the field to make sure everything is on the same thing. Number 40 to 120, if they're not playing and practicing while the others are playing, they have to be in the stands cheering for their team. And they have to make their way up. And they have to see what the other guys are doing. Because if you're number 41 and they call you up to be the number 35, you better know what to do. Because if you don't know what to do, you're back at 120. Well, if you like it or not, they have great baseball there. This is the coach I was talking about. We do official program there. We got there our flag with the coach there, and they appreciate it as much as we do as coaches. We had a great talk with him with strategies and all this stuff. It was awesome there. Another thing, while we're there, we're trying to see what they're doing differently. I show you this because we had practice. It's a barn, actually. It was a barn in the middle of nowhere. This is a high school program, okay? This high school program had a gym, and if you take a look there, they are so efficient with the things they do. With cages, they can set up cages, they can set up a whole gym that's an infield size gym. They can do practice tremendously efficient. That was awesome to see, and it made me think about how can we adapt this to Germany, because we have the same problems in Europe, weather-wise and field-wise, and this was a great way to do it. Next example, we're talking about efficient practice. This team was a high school team, 60 players. 60 players on the roster, same system. First 20, next 20, last 20. They played a cup game against us. We watched that game, 4-3, awesome game. It was like 90 minutes, 9 innings. It was like they were running off the field, running on the field. It was like, boom. Then they played us. They kicked our butt. And then they had 4 hours of practice with 60 guys. And believe me, in these 4 hours, nobody was standing around and talking to his neighbor about last night's beer or whatever. What they did, for example, and this is why I choose this slide. Instead of having 1 turtle, they have 3. On the right side, there's a machine slider. On the left side, there's a machine 12-6 curveball. In the middle, there's a guy throwing BP, just fastballs. So, with their screens, the importance here are the screens. They have so many screens, they can set it up, nobody get injured because everybody's covered. They have, beside that, you don't see this, they have screens on second base to third base, a little bit around third base, so they can stand up on second base, and each hit, what they're doing on the right side, they're saying, okay, you read the hit and you're running. So they're taking their lead from second, they get the hack, and beside it, depending on what kind of hit it was, they're turning and scoring or not. It is live. There is game speed. We were talking about game speed experience there. That's what they do. And what you can't see, and this is what the next slide is, behind this whole thing, because if they have an all-dirt infield, nobody likes all-dirt infield in Germany or in Europe, because they have an all-dirt infield, they can have from here, from the backstop here to there, they have a screen they're pulling out, and they're having like 4 to 6 toss and tee stations to prepare for the live BP sections. So at the same time, they have like 10 guys running, 10 guys hitting on the field, 10 guys in the cages back there, shagging in the outfield, 60 people being active for 4 hours. And that was just amazing to see. Beside that, obviously, we want to see some of the culture, which I think is important too. This was an example for a temple. And we do, in Japan, we do as well look for example, the Hawks. We went to the Hawks Stadium. It's a dome. Great place to be. It's great for the kids. It's great for the coaches as well. And if nobody knows, or if somebody doesn't know the Hawks, Van der Hoek is a Dutch guy. He plays there, and he won the championship there. It's a pitcher for them. I have this video because this is, as a coach, sometimes you get, in Germany, don't get me wrong, sometimes you get frustrated. You get frustrated because of the weather, you get frustrated because of the support by the city, you get frustrated because, well, you try to get guys to the games and then there are like only 200 people watching the game. So now you go to Japan. And if I'm in Japan, I'm coming back, I'm fired up, I'm ready for winter season to prepare. Just a little clip. Permanently. This is a Hawks game, and it was more about the sound than about the images. Permanently, the team which bats, is being cheered by the fans. Well, on the right side, that was the first game of the Nippon series, but it's pretty much the same. The first Japan game, I saw the Giants playing the Hanshin Tigers, was pretty much the same. They are cheering for 2.5 hours. You sitting there and you think, damn, is that great? Is this awesome? And I think as coaches and as players in Europe, you sometimes have to remind yourself what a great game we're playing. Because sometimes, like I said, you get frustrated. What are we doing 2019? We are actually invited. I don't know yet whether we will do all this, I gotta admit. We got invited to the Kenko World Championship in Tokyo, July 20th to 29th. Friendship Games in St. Louis, Kenko World Championship in Izo in end of August, and the 19U Friendship Series in Fukuoka in October. For that, we will have a qualification tournament in Cologne, where we like to invite players and coaches to be part of it, like Pablo said before, to know each other, to see each other, and to determine whether you are ready or not, or what are your interests there. So this is what we do in 2019 for Team Europe. And like I said, this was just an example of what we're doing. But we also have other programs.
So, we have right now some few partnerships that we did in the past, and we are working on some new ones with some other college and high school in the US. I would just let you know my experience about doing the exchange program. I was not a board member when I candidate. It was 2010, and so I went in Chicago 2011. I was just finishing the convention, talked to Chris, and asked him how to do that for trying to be a candidate for the exchange program. And so the year after, I had the possibility to go there. We were sharing stuff about network, talking to the person next to you. I will let you know what happens for me in 2013. We had the convention in Brussels, I think, and I was just talking, and I have a good contact with Bill Springman, who was the hitting coordinator from the Minnesota Twins. And after the convention, he let me know, if you want, you can come by the Twins organization, you can try to do the spring training or instructional league. So I said, okay. And I sent just one email in February. He told me, I propose you better instructional league because you will learn a little bit more, because we have a lot of players, we do a lot of games. And so in 2014, I was going 2 weeks in Florida, and coaches, just the day after I came, I was coaching in first base against the Red Sox. So I'm not high-level coach, but you have sometimes way to choose opportunity, and it's not a bad word, opportunity. You take it or not. So just it's a good place to have some good contacts in coaching, in knowledge, with the exchange program. In the past, we were doing some clinics, and we will try to do that too, perhaps put the players and coaches, may come some other coaches. So you have the information, and so all will be online in a few weeks on the website, so you know what to do.
Additional to that, I want to say, and we saw that on the slide, we also made contacts to other programs in Europe. Because sometimes you have to say, well, I might not have the time to go 2 weeks to Chicago. I may not have the funding, because you have to get yourself over there. You have to pay for your own travels, but since you're there, it will be covered. But sometimes you want to see how things are working in Paderborn, for example, at one of the German academies. Maybe you want to go and see what's going on in Great Britain, maybe in Belgium, maybe wherever. If you have interest in that, we can also help finding the right spot for you to make sure that you get more experience internationally. Questions? Are there any questions about what we're talking about? Terry?
How do you select the team?
Well, that's a good question. First, like I said, we like to see the players, if players apply to, you're talking about Team Europe, right? We like to see the players, if people apply for that, they should come to the Eastern Tournament, which is kind of a tryout. We have a camp afterwards where people can participate as well. But we understand that, for example, from Budapest, it's pretty hard to go on a 3-day tournament to Cologne on Easter. Well, this is where the EBCA comes in place as well. For example, we know that if the Swiss guys, we know on the national team, if they're telling us, okay, we might have 2 guys, pitcher and second baseman or right fielder, who are good enough, good guys, they would be willing to go there, they would be able to go there, then we can make roster spots open for that. So we are trying to get every federation a certain number of spots. Well, if you would tell me right now, hey, I have this guy who deserves it, who developed as a player and I want to go there, or if you have a coach saying I want to go there, then we can set him up with the chance to go there. That's what happened with Pablo. He said, I have a guy who I want you to take with me, to take with us. And we did, and he was a good player, and I think it helped him as a player too, as well as us coaches. It helps to go there too. And this year there were 2 12U players from Poland be in St. Louis again.
Actually, Philip is now in high school in Florida, and he's in my scouting team that's playing their regular games in the outfield.
So this is like it's an option.
We are quite the same with one player of my team, okay? And with Bertrand, he went with you in St. Louis, and he was practicing, beside our practicing a lot. And right now he is in college near from Chicago. So that opens you some doors, you know. So, and you don't have to be a very talented player, you know. But you have to be a good player, you know. That's the main point.
Well, you have to say though, when we were going to Japan, we don't want to play them with
that's true.
Kind of a shitty team. That's because it's not fun to get your butt kicked like 20-0.
What were the scores in Japan with the 19 and under?
Oh, they were okay. They were okay. I mean, this year we didn't win a game. The last time we went 3 out of 8. But I gotta admit that the second last time we played lower kind of high schools and colleges. So because we did win a couple of games, they set us up with Fukuoka University. Well, and to be honest with you, they didn't play the number 1 to 20.
Yeah.
I think it was, I don't know exactly, they played their number 52 to 68.
But it's for you, I assume it's about getting the right fit for the players. It's better to have a game than a play.
Correct. And if you talk to these guys, they're still impressed of the level of play they're doing. And like I said, this is just a side effect. The player development, don't get me wrong, I love this. But this is a side effect. For me, and this is the way we started it here, for me it was, if you play in Japan, just to give you an example, if you have a 10-0 game in Germany and a team bunts or steals, then, I mean, often they're upset about you. You say, well, what are you doing? Are you showing off or what? Well, in Japan, it's different. They bunt not because to show you off, it's just because they're saying, as long as you are not able to defend the bunt, we will bunt. I mean, they are playing it, and the runner from first is not only trying to go to third, he's trying to score. And it's just the aggressive style of baseball they are playing. If you see the World Baseball Classic, I think it was 2013 final game, South Korea, Japan. If you see that game, how aggressive they run, how aggressive they play, for me, it's just awesome. And that's what they do from the bottom to the top. And then you don't ask anymore why they're at this level.
This isn't a question, but as a person in the States who oftentimes sets up the sites for the EBCA coaches to come to, I have more sites and more college coaches who want to have European coaches come and stay with them than I have coaches than we have here as an EBCA coaches applying. So we have to get more interest, I guess, among the coaching community in Europe to actually, because it's a great experience. I mean, you have to pay for your flight over, yes, but once you're in the States, the school is taking care of you. You stay with a coach, or you stay. They feed you at the school cafeteria. Everything's taken care of. You're just basically learning and sharing, like at Vanderbilt University, you would share their fantastic practice regimen that they do there. So we've always had more places to host coaches than we've had coaches who have applied. So it's up to you as members to get more people to get involved in this and apply for it.
Yep. And if you have a coach, if you yourself cannot do it, everybody of you is involved in your regional federation or national federation. If you have coaches, young coaches, old coaches, assistant coaches, half coaches, doesn't matter. Make him become a member of the EBCA. It's $35 a year. That shouldn't be the big deal. $35 a year, and then apply for that. Because, and this is one of the reasons we want to share that. And to have the option is one thing. To get the guys is another. If there are no more questions, I would like to stop the presentation. Thank you for listening. And we want to give you another opportunity to be part of the EBCA family. And Luc, who is our board member, who is taking care of all the new media stuff, he will show you a way how to make your membership of the EBCA more valuable. And that for you need 2 minutes, Luc?
5.
Okay, should we do a little break?
Yeah, after 7.